Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm gonna show you how I made this crochet sweater. It's worked in the round from the top down and has a circular yoke. The sleeves are also worked in the round, so there's no sewing in the sweater. I'm gonna show you what measurement I took and how I calculated my increases for the yoke. This is the yarn I'm going to use for the project. It's a merino wool and silk blend. There are balls of 50 grams each, 120 meters. And the recommended hook size are 3.5 to 4.5. I'm gonna use 3 colors: green, blue and white. I have 3 balls of the white, 3 of the blue and 4 of the green. The green is the one I'm going to use for the ribbing. I also use a 4.5 millimeter hook, a 4 millimeter hook, a 3.5 millimeter hook, measuring tape, scissors, tapestry needle, 4 stitch markers and pen and paper. So this is the plan for the sweater. We're gonna start from the top, from the neckline, and we're gonna distribute evenly our increases in 5 rows during our yoke. Before starting, we need to know the stitch gauge, so I made a swatch. The stitch I want to use for the sweater requires a multiple of 3 plus 2 when worked flat back and forth, and just a multiple of 3 when worked in the round. So I washed and dried my swatch. I measure my gauge. I have 16 stitches by 9 rows in a 10 by 10 centimeters square. Once we have our gauge, we can take the measurement and calculate our stitches. The measurement that we need are the neck circumference, the chest, the armhole, and the depth of the yoke. These are my measurements. They're going to be for a size large. The first step to calculate our stitches is to divide our measurement by 10 centimeters. Then we're going to multiply the first 3 measurements by the number of stitches we have in 10 centimeters, that's 16 for me, and the last one by the number of rows we have in 10 centimeters, that's 9. These are my result, and because the stitch pattern requires a multiple of 3, I'm going to choose the multiple of 3 that is closest to the number I got. So I have 87 stitches for the neck, 168 stitches for the chest, it was already a multiple of 3, 57 stitches for each armhole, and the depth of the yoke is going to be 23 rows. This measurement doesn't need to be a multiple of 3, it's just how many rows our yoke is going to take. So 87 stitches is going to be the starting point of my yoke. To get the end of the yoke, we need to sum the number of stitches of the chest and the number of stitches of the 2 armholes to get the total number of stitches our yoke is going to be at the end. And if we subtract from this number the starting stitches, we will get the number of stitches we need to add during our yoke. I'm going to do my increases in 5 rows, so dividing the stitches to add by 5, I'm going to get the number of stitches I need to add in each row. This number needs to be a multiple of 3. Your total number of stitches to add, it's going to be a multiple of 3, but it may not be divisible by 5. In this case, you can adjust the number of stitches to add in each of these rows to be a multiple of 3. For example, 192 stitches, it's not divisible by 5. So in this case, I would do 4 rows with 39 stitches and 1 with 36. Alright, once we are done with all our calculation, we can start our sweater. I'm gonna start actually with the color blue instead of green, because later I'm going to add a ribbon band. I'm gonna do with the green. To make my foundation chain, I'm going to use a 4.5 millimeter hook. Then I'm gonna switch to a 4 millimeter hook for the rest of the sweater. First, make a slip knot. Then chain the number of chains you calculated for your neckline. In my case, it's 87. That's my multiple of 3 required by the stitch pattern. Once you have all the chains you need for your neckline, making sure first the chain isn't twisted, we're going to join in the round by slip stitching into the first chain. Like this. Then I'm going to switch to a smaller hook, 4mm hook. Now for row 1, chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet. Then in all the other chains of the row, make 1 double crochet. Join in the round by slip stitching in the 3rd chain of the start. Chain 3. Count as our first double crochet. Row 2 is going to be the first of our 5 rows of increases. I have to add 39 stitches, and to distribute them I'm going to take the number of stitches that I have, that's 87, and divide that by the number of stitches I have to add. That's 2.2. So in every second stitch I'm going to make my increase. I'm going to make my first increase in the second stitch. I'm going to increase by making 2 double crochet in the same stitch. I made my first increase. I'm going to make 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then another increase, 2 double crochet in the next. This is my second increase, 1 double crochet in the next one, and 2 double crochet in the next one. This is increase number 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna proceed this way till I had all my 39 stitches. Here is my second row completed. I added all my 39 stitches. Here towards the end I had to space them out a little bit more because I was almost done with the increases and there was still a little bit of space. So instead of 1 stitches apart, I started making 2 stitches apart, and the last one 3 stitches apart. So now for row 3, slip stitch in the 3rd chain, joining in the round, chain 3, and make 1 double crochet in every stitch. So now I added 39 stitches to my 87, so I have 126 stitches. Join in the round row 3, and row 4 is going to be the one with the puffs stitch. Chain 3. This always counts as 1 double crochet, And in the second stitch we're going to make our first puff stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook in the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop like this, yarn over again, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook again in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook again in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have all these loops on our hook. We're gonna yarn over and pull through all the loops except the last loop. We have 2 loops on our hook now, and we're gonna yarn over and pull through 2 loops. The next 2 stitches, make 1 double crochet in each of them. Then again another puff stitch in the next double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4 times like this. Yarn over and pull through all the loops except the last loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Continue like this till the end of the round. At the end of the row, make the last puff stitch in the second to last double crochet. Then 1 last double crochet in the last stitch. Row 4 is completed. Now I'm going to change color. I'm gonna add the white, so I'm gonna insert my hook in the 3rd chain of the start. Gonna make a slip stitch using the next color. Chain 3, now with the white I'm going to do the same 4 rows I did with the blue, so 3 rows of double crochet and then 1 row with the puff stitches. Then I'm gonna change to green, with green same, and again blue, white and green. These 4 rows for each color. Okay, we made the first increase in row 2. We still have 4 rows of increases to make, and because I need to increase in 22, 23 rows, that's the depth of my yoke, I should increase every 4 to 5 rows, but every 4th row it's a row with puff stitches, and I don't want to increase in one of these rows, so I planned my future increases to be on row 7, row 13, row 17 and row 22. Alright, I finished row 6, which is the second row with the white. Now in row 7 I'm gonna do my second increase. I'm gonna add another 39 stitches, bringing the total of stitches to 165. And now to distribute these new 39 stitches in the round, I need to divide 126, that's the current number of stitches that I have, by 39. It is 3 point something, so I'm gonna do one increase every third stitch. Like this, 2 stitches with 1 double crochet and 1 increase. I finished row 7, my second row of increase. Now this is how the yoke is looking like. In this row as well, at the end I had to space out my increases a little bit more to avoid leaving a part without increases. Now I'm going to follow the stitch pattern. I'm gonna make row 8, then I'm gonna switch to green and make the 4 rows with green, and the next increase is gonna be in row 13 with color blue. I just finished row 12. Now in row 13 I'm going to switch back to blue and make my third increase. I'm gonna add another 39 stitches, bringing the total to 204 stitches. Distribute this 39, I'm going to divide 165 stitches by 39. That's 4.2. So I'm going to make my increase every 4th stitch. Alright, I finished row 16. Now in row 17 I'm going to make my 4th increase. I'm going to add another 39 stitches, bringing the total to 243 stitches. To distribute the stitches, I'm going to divide 204 by 39, that's 5.2. So in row 17 I'm going to do my increase every 5th stitch. Alright, I finished row 21. Now in row 22 I'm going to make my last increase and add the last 39 stitches, bringing the total to 282 stitches. To distribute the new 39 stitches, I'm going to divide 243 by 39, which is 6.2. So I'm gonna make my increase every 6th stitch. Alright, I finished my last row of increase. My yoke now measures 25 centimeters. And in the next row I'm going to divide the stitches, and we're going to continue only with the body of the sweater. You're going to need 4 stitch markers, and we're going to divide the stitches. I have 282 stitches, of which 168 are the front and the back, dividing that into, you got 84 for the front and 84 for the back, and the sleeves are 57 stitches each. For the back, we're going to position our seam, the start of our row, in the middle of the back. So for the back we are going to do half the stitches now, so 42 stitches, and then the other 42 stitches are going to be at the end of the row. So now I'm going to crochet 42 stitches. That's half the stitches of my back. .42 stitches, so this one is the first stitch of our first sleeve. I'm gonna put a stitch marker in it, and now I need to count 57 stitches for the first sleeve, this one included. And in the 57th stitch I'm going to put the second stitch marker. Like this, and these are the stitches for our first sleeve. Now I'm going to continue my row in the next stitch after the second stitch marker. To join this part of the row, I'm going to yarn over, insert the hoe hook in the new stitch. That's the first stitch of the front, and don't yarn over yet, and insert your hook in the previous stitch. It's not easy to show you, but this is the last stitch of the back. Yarn over and pull through like this. So this is now connected, and we're gonna finish our double crochet. So I inserted the hook first in the new stitch and then back in the previous stitch. Now I'm gonna continue with the stitches of the front. 84 stitches. This one is the first one. I worked 84 stitches for the front. Now I'm gonna count another 57 stitches for the second sleeve. And now we have to finish the row by making the last 42 stitches of the back. Alright, so our yoke is completed. We have the stitches of our sleeve on hold, and now we are going to continue following the stitch pattern only in this part of the sweater, only the 168 stitches of the front and the back. Alright, I crochet past my chest. Now as I approach the waist, I want this to be a little bit smaller, so I'm gonna do one or maybe two rows of the creases. I'm gonna decrease 24 stitches. That's around 15 centimeters. Now I have 168 stitches on my work, so 168 divided by 24 is 7. So I'm gonna do my decrease in the 6th and 7th stitch. To make a decrease, we are going to make a double crochet 2 together. I'm gonna do it in the 6th and 7th stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook in the 1st stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop like this. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops like this. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops. Now you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. So these 2 double crochet turn in only 1 stitch. I'm gonna do my 24 decreases all around my work. After my first row of decreases, I continue with the white section. Now I've switched back to green and I'm gonna do a second row of decreases. This time I'm gonna decrease 18 stitches. My total is now 144, so minus 18 is gonna be 126. To distribute these 18 stitches, I'm gonna divide 144 by 18. That's 8, so I'm gonna do my decreases every 7th and 8th stitch. After the second row of decreases, I continue with the stitch pattern until I finish this green section. Now my work measures 40 centimeters. I'm gonna later add 5 or 6 centimeters of ribbon, reaching 40 or 45 centimeters. So that's the length I want my sweater to be. So now I'm gonna work on the sleeves. I'm gonna work both sleeves at the same time. I'm gonna do the green section on one sleeve, then the green section on the other, blue on one sleeve and then blue on the other, so that they both grow at the same time instead of having one sleeve finished and having to do the same thing again on the other. This is a personal preference. If you prefer, you can do one sleeve and then copy that and do the same thing on the other. So for the sleeve, we have the sleeve stitches marked with the stitch marker. Instead of attaching the new yarn where the stitch marker is, I'm gonna attach it here. We have these 3 stitches that are the 3 stitches of the main body. I'm gonna attach the yarn here, made a slip knot in the new yarn, and then chain 3. This count as our first double crochet. Then I'm gonna make a double crochet in this stitch, that's a stitch of the body. Continue with the double crochet all around till the second stitch marker. I've reached the second stitch marker. And then one last double crochet here in one of the stitch of the main body. This, and then join in the round. We have basically added these 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. So here on our underarm there was no gap. So in this way the seam is going to be perfectly at the center of the underarm. Now I'm going to continue with the row with the puffs. That's the last row with the color green. I have now 60 stitches on my work. I finished the green section on this sleeve. Now I'm gonna do it on the second sleeve, then come back here for the blue, and then again blue on the other one. So back and forth between the 2 sleeves. I finished the green section on both sleeves. Now I switched back to blue, and now in this row I want to start decreasing for the sleeves. I'm gonna do the decreases in the same way I did for the body. I have now 60 stitches for each sleeve. I'm gonna decrease 6 stitches. So 60 divided 6 is 10. So I'm gonna do my decrease with the 9 and the 10th stitch. I finished with the blue. Now I'm gonna switch back to white. The sleeves now reaches my elbow, and in the next row I'm gonna do a second decrease. I'm gonna decrease 6 stitches as well as we did here. I have 54 stitches on my sleeve now, so that divided by 6 is 9. So I'm gonna do my decrease in the 8 and 9 stitches. Alright, I finished with the white. Now I'm gonna switch back to green, and I'm gonna make in the next row the last decrease of the sleeves. Then I'm gonna continue the sleeve straight around until here. At the end of the sleeve I want to add a ribbed cuff, so I don't want this to be too long. I have 48 stitches now, so that divided by 6 is 8. So I'm gonna do my decrease in the 7th and 8th stitch. After the last decrease I just continue following the stitch pattern until I reach my desired length for the sleeves. I decrease 3 times, each time 6 stitches. So now both my sleeves are done. The next step is going to be adding the ribbing to the cuffs, the neckline, and to the bottom. For the ribbing I'm going to use a 3.5mm hook. I'm gonna start with the ribbing at the bottom. Take the new yarn and make a slip knot and attach it to your work. Now chain how many chains you want. I want my ribbing to be 6 centimeters. I made 11 chains. I'm gonna skip the first one. This is not going to count as a stitch, it's just to turn, and in every chain I'm gonna make 1 single crochet. So I'm gonna have 10 single crochet for my ribbing. Once you make your single crochet in the chain, join the ribbing to the main part of your sweater by making a slip stitch like this. Then move to the next stitch by making another slip stitch like this. Now turn around. Now we're going to make in each stitch of the ribbing one single crochet, but we're going to do it only in the back loop of the stitch. So insert your hook only in the back loop and make one single crochet. Now turn around, chain one, this doesn't count as a stitch, and make again a single crochet in every stitch of the ribbing, but only in the back loop. Like this, and then attach the ribbing to the main part of the sweater with a slip stitch in the stitch next to the one where you previously slip stitch. Like this, move to the next stitch with another slip stitch, then turn around and repeat single crochet in the back loop only. Continue like this for all the stitches of the sweater. I finished the ribbing at the bottom. In the same way, I'm gonna add it to the sleeves and to the neckline. After finishing all the ribbing, the next step is to weave in all the tails using a tapestry needle. And this is the final result. The sweater completed. I think it turned out really nicely. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!